Today we continue one of the more exciting canal restorations in this country, in two countries in fact. So we're currently in England and we're in a place called the Shropshire Gap. This is a 2-mile section which is currently under restoration, and 2 miles behind me is Carreghofa Basin. That goes into the sections that are being lined at the moment to Schoolhouse Bridge, and then across to Llanymynech Basin, which is where the current work is going up to at the moment. That's about 1.25 miles to 1.5 miles behind me, probably 1.25 miles. This section is massive for the canal because once this section is restored, you get across the border into Wales and you link up 2 sections. Now, this is a canal that's been in restoration since 1969, should we say, when the waterway recovery groups and various other groups, they weren't called that back then, they all descended into Welshpool and they dug out a section and they restored the canal. There was plans for a bypass and they were going to use the canal as a line, which was often done. A canal is a nice flat route for a road to go over, and that's why planners, certainly in sort of the 50s and 60s, used a lot of those routes to put their new roads in. But they all said no, and they all got together and there was a big dig and the canal was effectively saved. I did a video on that, which you'll find in my videos, because it was such a pivotal moment in the restoration of this canal and the canal network as a whole in the UK. So we come to the next section, it's in water, and this is in a place called Llanymynech, and as you can see, it's actually quite dry at the moment. Now, just up the road in a place called Pant, cool name I know, there are several springs that feed down to here. One's only trickling and the other one is dry with this hot weather. I'm actually starting this video at 7:15 on the night before I film the rest because it's just much cooler to come and try and do this. We're in a period where in the UK it's getting up to about 40 degrees. And if you've ever been in the UK in heat, you know 40 degrees is just awful. It's so hard to do anything because of the humidity in this country. It really kills you. Now, I've been to the Middle East, I've been to North Africa, I've been to Australia, Turkey, I've done loads of places that are hot, Southern Europe, and nothing beats the UK when it's hot. This canal will have some more water in soon. As soon as we get a bit of rain, and I'm guessing the aquifers fill up and it starts kicking out the springs. What we have got behind it as well is, you can see, that's the Hoffman Kiln just over there. There's only I think that's the only Hoffman Kiln with a complete chimney in the whole of the country, but in the UK. I think there's still some in Germany, but that was quite a major part of the Industrial Revolution. It was the great way to make lime with running 24 hours a day, rather than having lime kilns that you had to clear out and then use. That thing's a big, like a circular kiln, and you could keep burning all day long in it. Now, this canal was effectively an agricultural canal. It was very different to the canals that were built in its time, and it was built in stages. They ran out of money when they were building it, so they built one bit and then they built a bit more, and eventually it was all connected up and down through. But the idea of it was to run goods for the farmers. It wasn't running to big mills and towns and stuff. So the major product on here was lime for agricultural use and also for construction as well. The canal was abandoned in 1930, and then the restoration started again in 1969, as I said. But in all that time, they have restored about 2/3 of this canal, but it's very much in sections that aren't joined together. So you've got this kind of mile here, which is full, and then you've got 8 miles at the start of the canal. You've got the bit in the middle there, which isn't full. Then you've got another bit beyond here that isn't full. And there's about 18 miles left to restore to take this canal to as far as it's going to go for now. It might go a little bit further, but it will never get down to Newtown where it originally led to. This canal is quite unique in how it's set up. Now, it's mostly owned by Canal and River Trust, but there's groups down here working like the Shropshire Union Canal Society and Montgomery's Waterways Restoration Trust. Now, they are restoring it for Canal and River Trust as contractors, but they're not charging labour. So Canal and River Trust are getting the work done for the cost of materials. So they're about 4 times cheaper than a contractor doing it, but it takes about 6 times as long to do it. So they are focusing on this side, on the English side, and the rest of the work on the other side is largely being done by Canal and River Trust or their contractors. And there's not many places in the UK where a canal travels across a border. There is the Carreghofa Canal, obviously goes over a border into Wales. And this one, I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but I'm sure you'll tell me some. What we have here is England here, this is Shropshire, and across underneath this bridge is Powys in Wales or Cymru. This is where the problems start for the restoration, because this side got level up funding. The side behind me didn't. And that's why the Shropshire Union Canal Society are doing all the work on that side and other contractors are doing the work on this side, because there's the money here to get it all done and get it done a lot quicker than what the volunteers can do on that side. Now we're going to walk up in a second to a bridge just up there called Carreghofa, and that's a new bridge being built, and we're going to meet Canal River Trust up there to see what's happening down there. Now this is where canal restoration becomes really fun, because even in normal standards, when you're working on a canal, if you've got a flight of locks and you've got funding for, say, the top lock, you have to spend it on that lock. You can't spend it on the bottom lock because it's easier to get that one restored first. You have to spend it on the project that it's designated to. But with this being a border of two countries, it makes it even more difficult. As we all know, Canal River Trust really don't have an infinite pot of money, so they can't just kind of come in and steamroll through this and start from one end to the other. They have to do it as the funding comes along. Now, it's great that the Shropshire Union Canal Society are helping back there, and quite honestly, they're doing fantastic work. If you saw my video, that lining is coming along massively. It's nearly at Schoolhouse Bridge, and it won't be long until they are potentially opening a new section. But when they do get down here, get that extra mile and a quarter down here, the thought is that this next section will be ready, joining all of these bits up. I'm going to stop for now because I'm sweating buckets, as you can probably tell. It's very hot, very humid here. And I'm also staying in this place here called the Dolphin. I have just had some food in there before I started this video, and it was delicious. I had a chicken Caribbean curry type thing, full of mango and stuff. Absolutely lovely. But tomorrow morning, we're going to take that little hop, which isn't far, down to Carreghofa and see what's happening with Canal River Trust and Kier at the bridge. And here we are at Carreghofa Bridge, and this is kind of on its way. The main bridge structure is built, and you've got the towpath in on this side. Now the towpath has to be dropped because they had certain clearances they had to get. They can only get 2.8 metres from water level up and above here, and they've got various things that they have to achieve. So they need to be able to get an 8% incline on the road to join onto here, back up to the lane, which is just over there. To do that, they have to keep the bridge as low as possible, which meant this towpath has to go in and drop down on the other side. The original plan showed no towpath, but working with locals, Canal River Trust added it into the designs.
I'm Jason Leach. I'm Head of External Programme Delivery at Canal River Trust, and we're here today on the Montgomery Canal. This is one of our main works on the Levelling Up funded project at the moment, and we're here at Llanymynech, and this is Carreghofa Lane Bridge. This is the first big structure that we've done next to the English section for quite some time. We're about 2/3 of the way through the work here. As you can see, it's quite a big site. What we're trying to do is recreate through passage for navigation that we lost back in the 70s when the local authority filled in a bit of the canal to allow bin wagons to get past the old bridge. And what we've got here is quite a small site. It's quite tight, and we have to fit in quite an unusual skew. So we have the carriageway to my right, and to the left is the main road, and we've had to fit the bridge in quite a tight spot to make sure we can accommodate highway standards, but also allow through navigation without any hindrance. And that's where we are now. We've got another 3 or 4 months work before all finished, we can re-water it and then get the highway back in use.
The road is largely used by locals, as well as there's a caravan park up there, so it does take heavy traffic. So the idea of putting like a lift bridge or something slightly cheaper and easier to build wasn't really possible here, meaning they had to move the bridge about 80 metres further back from the original bridge, which is Walls Bridge. There's also the causeway across there, which was put in the 70s to 80s. Despite fierce opposition, it still went ahead.
So this phase of the Montgomery Canal has been funded by Levelling Up as part of the UK programme. Powys are the administrator of that. It's been really great working with Powys. They're very supportive, and it's part of a legacy of the previous government to recreate economic benefits for local people, local communities. The future introduction of boats, the increased use on the towpath, the nature recovery that we're trying to achieve as well will be great for local economies here in Wales and Powys.
So you can see the old bridge just behind me, that's Wharf's Bridge. Now the plan is to carry this on and go through now for another 4 miles. It received £15.4 million worth of funding through that levelling up that Jason mentioned. And that includes 2 nature reserves. There's one already built down at Wharf, and there's another one going to be built down at Llanymynech. That's going to come in a later video. That allows for some species that are in here to be kind of moved and to allow it to spread into different areas, which allows boat movements down here. Now at the moment there's about 2,000 boat movements per year restriction on this canal in total, and so really 1,000 in and 1,000 out. That's going to be slightly smaller as you go further down this canal, and they're going to start off with about 500. They're trying to work their way into figuring out how to get more boats down this section, and that's to protect those triple SIs. So the bridge actually moves the canal about 35 metres across, and that's to allow the height that they need to get for the slopes going down to the main road. You can't have a steep slope going to a junction, you can't even have it going to a bridge because vehicles struggle to move up against it. So you have restrictions these days in what you can actually do. And if you look all around here, you can see the works along here for the wing walls on the bridge, and you can also see the shuttering going in to build the edges of the road. Now this will all be backfilled, but they're having quite a few problems at the moment because the heat we've got at the moment. They're trying to black everything at the moment. They put bitumen on, and that's to protect the concrete from reactions to the backfill. That's struggling because it's bubbling as they're painting it, so they're having to sand it off and start again, and they're looking at maybe doing nights on here to actually get this done. Now as always with these projects, there's always some impact to the local area. Now in Wales you don't have the same environmental net gain that you have to have on construction projects. They do it slightly differently, but what's going to happen here is there will be a net gain. So there's going to be attention in ponds which are like drainage ponds all around, as well as hedgerow planting and stuff like that. But not just that, they are kind of thinking of the community. There's a playground right in front of me where I am now, and that's going to have to be rebuilt and kind of changed around, so there's money going into that, as well as various other things for the locals to enjoy down here. It should be quite a nice little area to come to along the canal once it's all done. Behind me here now, they are prepping just for this side, so you can see the rebar in the shuttering there. At the moment they're kind of pouring the sort of toe of the big wall that's going to go up there, which will be a big sort of sheer concrete wall there to support the roadway. That allows for support of that wall so it doesn't fall over and against the pressure of the backfill that they put in behind. It's like an anchor essentially. But lots going on down here. Hopefully this will be finished this year. And then they can get on with the rest of the dredging work. They've done 3 miles of dredging so far out of the 4, removed quite a lot of spoil, and it's cost a significant amount of money just for that. So this then will be done, and water will be connected back up to the section behind me. Now the springs are dry there, but there is a river up here where the feeder has to have a screen put on it, and that screen is part of the obstruction licences that Canal River Trust had to reapply for over England and Wales, and there were lots of them, there were thousands of them. Those drew up some things, and there's lots of things with natural resource whales and stuff in particular who want to stop species spreading between canals and rivers, so they have put these screens on. Now you've got to install those, which means the feeder isn't currently putting water into here. So once that's done, and once the connection's done, you'll have a water supply from both ends here, meaning water level shouldn't drop so much in the section we started at. But a huge thank you to Kier for allowing me on site again today, and for Canal River Trust for meeting me for this video. As always, please support them. You can become a friend of the trust and support them that way, or you can make regular donations. The links will be in the description. But thanks for watching. Have a great day.